Prime Minister,
yes.
Yes. Going into this election, you said that you would take personal responsibility for the results. The results aren't good. You've lost 120 councillors at least so far. You might end up losing 200 to 300. Flagships, Wandsworth, Westminster, Conservative councillors who are very angry at you and think you're the reason. Do you take responsibility?
Of course. And first of all, I want to pay tribute to Conservative councillors up and down the land. Conservative councillors who've won, those who have sadly lost. And they do a fantastic job. And they deliver better value for lower council tax up and down the country. Yes, you're right. It's mid-term, and it's certainly a mixed set of results. And we've had a tough night in some parts of the country, but on the other hand, in other parts of the country, you're still seeing Conservatives going forward and making quite remarkable gains in places that haven't voted Conservative for a long time, or if ever. And so, leaving aside the commentary, the big lesson that I take from this is that this is a message from voters that what they want us to do, above all, 1, 2 and 3, is focus on the big issues that matter to them, taking the country forward, making sure that we fix the post-COVID economic aftershocks, get us all through COVID, through the economic aftershocks in the way we got through COVID, fix the energy supply issues. That's where the inflationary spike is coming, and keep going with our agenda of high-wage, high-skill jobs. That's what we're focused on.
But these are big losses. Westminster, Wandsworth. No Conservative leader in decades has lost those seats. And your neighbouring MP here, David Simmons, he said this morning that a lot of people were very angry about you and your law-breaking in Downing Street. And he says you have to face up to that. Of
course. And as I say, Damien, this has been a tough night for Conservatives in some parts of the country, and in other parts of the country we're actually moving forward. And so for mid-term, it's quite interesting that it's a mixed set of results. And I think the lesson that I take is that, and you rightly quote the views from the doorstep, but the lesson is we've got to get on with the stuff that matters to people. We've got to keep delivering on our agenda, putting 20,000 more police out on the streets, getting 50,000 more nurses into our hospitals, continuing with the biggest programme of infrastructure investment this country has seen for more than 100 years, and uniting and levelling up.
But despite all of those things, the issue on the doorstep was about cost of living. And just yesterday, the Bank of England said we are facing 10% inflation, a recession. That is all coming down the track. What's not coming down the track is your high-wage, job economy. What's coming down the track is much more pain for people. And what are you going? Not what you've done already, but what are you going to do to address that?
So I think that is completely right, and that's the lesson that I think we all need to take. What's going on right now is that the global economy. You've seen inflation spiking in the US, in Europe, and in Australia, and New Zealand, and it's driven by the cost of energy. And that is the thing that we've got to focus on. For decades, we failed to invest sufficiently in UK domestic energy security. We let our nuclear energy completely collapse. We haven't done enough to put in renewables in the way that we can, put in more wind at the scale and the pace that we can. So that is where we want to go. Now, I'm not going to pretend to you, Damien, that the answers, there isn't going to be a difficult period as we come through the aftershocks of COVID. There is. But what I'm going to tell you is that this government is absolutely determined to keep going with every ounce of compassion and ingenuity that we have, get people through the economic aftershocks, help people with the costs, but make sure that we address these supply-side issues, particularly energy, in order for the economy to keep growing.
You say you're going to help people with the costs.
Our solution is a high-wage, high-skill economy.
But that's not coming down the track. What's coming down the track is recession and 10% inflation. It's going to erode everybody's spending power. But what you could do right now, you say you're going to help everyone with energy costs. One thing you could do right now is a windfall tax. We saw Shell with massive profits yesterday. Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Okay, so I had the head of Shell in yesterday, and the head of of BP. I've talked to them both, and you know, our message to them and what is very, very clear. It's guys, you know, this is a moment when we need you as a country to invest massively in clean, green renewables, in the stuff that is going to make a difference to people's energy prices. But that's not going to reduce
people's bills this year.
What we don't want to do is make the same mistakes as previous governments, as I've just been saying, fail to invest in our energy supply. So that's the message that we're giving to the big energy companies. And it's frankly better for them to take that cash, put it in to wind farms, put it into hydrogen, put it into stuff that will make a big difference to our ability to cope with the global energy price spike. And above all, make sure that this country is protected in the future, so that we have more long-term energy security. That's what we're going for. I say one thing about this government is it does big, difficult things, and we need to fix our energy supply. We can do it. It will take some tough decisions, but in order to do that, you need investment in energy supply. You need investment for the long term in UK nuclear, in wind, in hydrogen, and all the rest of it.
It's people's bills right now that people are worried about, not the future. But I want to ask you...
But on that, don't forget, Damien, what we're already doing. And I appreciate that, and I know how tough it is to cope with the energy price.
But there are things you can do right now, and you're choosing not to do them.
We're putting £22 billion of taxpayers' money in to support people, to help people with the energy price spike. You know about the council tax abatement, £9.1 billion just to help with energy.
That's going to give a tiny fraction of what their bills
and there are other things. There are other things that we're doing. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that this government got Brexit done, had the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe.
Can I ask you something?
Does some very big. It's a serious, because I think our viewers would like to know why I'm taking this approach. I think what the country needs is a government that will take a big decision about how to fix our energy supply, and you don't do that simply by clobbering the companies that we need to make investment in our domestic energy security. Now, that's why we're taking this approach.
Now, one place that this election could have a very significant result is Northern Ireland, and we could well see, projections have been going into the vote, that Sinn Féin emerge as the majority. In Northern Ireland, if that happens, if the majority of parties majority of people have voted for parties that support the arrangements that you set up with the EU, the protocol, the trading arrangements, if the majority of people back parties that support that, will you work with those parties to make that arrangement work, that protocol, those trading arrangements work?
So the most important thing is that we continue to support the balance of the Good Friday Agreement across all communities in Northern Ireland. That's what we're going to do, and whatever arrangements we have, they've got to have cross-community support. That's what the Good Friday Agreement is all about. That's what the government is going to do. But as for the rest of it, we will have to wait and see what the results are in Northern Ireland.